This is Pet Life Radio. Let's talk pets.
Welcome to the Whisker Report. We're a new podcast dedicated to helping anyone in the pet industry, whether you're an animal welfare or a for-profit pet company, get some PR and buzz for your organization. I'm Mary Chan, one of the hosts of the show, along with Alexandre Ricard, who hails from France but is currently in Canada, out in Vancouver. Bonjour, Alex.
Bonjour tout le monde! We're so excited about this show today. Do you need help with social media? Well, today we've got an expert for you. But first, let me introduce you to our producer, Mark Winter of Pet Life Radio, who is the man who gets us to you each and every week. Hello, Mark!
Hi, how's everyone doing?
We're good.
We are good.
I need to know about social media. We need help.
Everybody
social media.
Hey, Mark, what are you working on with your podcasts?
Well, let's see. This week, actually, right after this, we are recording with a Broadway producer, Daryl, who's a Tony Award-winning producer, and she also did a documentary about dogs, and she's on next. So
Wow.
that's on Rappaport to the Rescue.
Wow,
That's so
amazing.
awesome. And Jill Rappaport is amazing.
Yeah.
She's like, I think she is the first pet journalist. She's on the Today Show. Like, I want to say she started probably in the 80s, right, Mark?
Yeah, probably. I mean, she was on the Today Show. She did entertainment. She did other stuff, and then she switched over to pets. And so she's the pet reporter. So she's the one.
Yeah. I mean, who doesn't want to do all pet, right? Well, we're honored to be part of Pet Life Radio, a network of many, many awesome podcasts that you should also check out. And we want to remind everyone this podcast has a mission. You can do PR for yourself. And Alex, Mark, and I are going to show you how to do it each and every week.
Yay! And, as animal rescuers or any pet business owners, we all need to do something with social media. That's why we're so thrilled to have Skarlet Rockwood of Fur Social. She's an amazing part of the Pet Industry Network, which is a group of marketing creatives dedicated to helping those in the pet industry. Welcome, Skarlet! Thank you for being on the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yay! Can you give us a little introduction of yourself and of Fur Social?
Yeah, so I'm Skarlet Rockwood. I am the owner and founder of Fur Social, and our mission is to help pet businesses impact the lives of pets and their people more by making sure they can reach more pet parents using content marketing and creating a content marketing ecosystem, which not just social media, but bring them onto your email list, to your website. But that customer journey almost always starts on social media.
I find that people like you are amazing. Like Alex and I are PR people and, our expertise is not marketing, but you have it figured out. You told me such amazing stuff the other day and we really, really want to get into it. And of course we have to pay for this show. So we're just going to take a really quick break and then we're going to be right back with Skarlet.
You know the expression, cats have 9 lives. Well, what if you can give them one more? The Give Them 10 movement is on a mission to help give cats an extra life. How? With spay and neuter. Spaying or neutering your cat helps them live a longer, healthier life. And it helps control free-roaming cat populations too. Learn more about the benefits of spay and neuter and meet Scooter, the neutered cat, at GiveThem10.org. That's GiveThem10.org.
Let's Talk Pets on PetLifeRadio.com.
And we're back with Skarlet from Fur Social. Skarlet, just a quick question to start on. How important is social media for small pet businesses and rescue? For all the people who, they might be a bit older, might not be Gen Z. So how important is social media? Can you give us a little?
Yeah, absolutely. So to me, the smaller your business is, the more important social media becomes because it is the organic. It's more and more commercialized now, but it started out as almost the grassroots way to get to your customers when you're looking at online marketing. Everything else is very difficult to get the same amount of reach and engagement without paying for ads. So social media is a very good way to get yourself in front of people, and more importantly, to show them who you are and what your business is about, to raise that know, like, and trust factor that we talk about a lot in marketing. So if you are on social media, it's a lot easier for someone, even if they heard of you through a referral or a flyer you left at your local pet store, or they found your website by searching Google first. A lot of people still go to social media to actually find out about you and try to get to know you before they actually reach out and either sign up for your services or buy your products.
And when we talk social media, we talk about Facebook, Instagram, which are, the most common ones. But now TikTok has been introduced, right? So do you recommend to people that they try to be on every single network or to focus more on one or a couple?
I think that the power of repurposing is really strong, and it allows you to be in a lot of places without necessarily needing to make unique content for each individual place. You can just tweak it to fit the native language of that platform. So you can be on as many platforms as you want to be. I would just recommend that you do pick something that feels sustainable for you. It's always better to be consistent where you are rather than to spread yourself too thin. And I would also say to only focus on growing one place at a time. So if you're growing your Facebook group, don't try to do that and grow your Instagram account at the same time, and split your focus. I recommend growing one channel at a time. So right now for me, my focus is the Facebook group, and my Instagram account is staying pretty level. My Facebook page is staying level or even losing followers because I'm not focused on growing it. I'm not running any ads. I'm not sending people to that. Anytime somebody wants to join my audience right now, I'm sending them to my Facebook group because that's what I'm focusing on growing right now.
Question. So everybody thinks, oh, I just put something on social media, but it's not as simple as that, right? I mean, growing your page is hard. And so if you only had, what would you suggest for pet rescues and small pet businesses? Is it best to be on Instagram or Facebook or TikTok? Like, if you had to pick one, what do you think would be best for the pet industry?
I personally find that the best results from me and my clients usually come from Instagram. On Facebook pages, it can be a little bit challenging just because of the way they've set up their algorithm to work. They really want it to be very pay to play in terms of reaching your people and getting the same level of engagement you can get in other places. Facebook pages are difficult, but Facebook groups are also very good, especially if you want to build a collaborative community where other people feel as much of the conversation as you versus just all the other channels where you're posting and all they can do is comment. TikTok can be a good place if you are not a local business, but they do not, it's much harder to target a local audience on TikTok versus on Instagram or other places like that. And then there are also, depending on your cybersecurity awareness, there are some concerns there with TikTok that are there with any online platform, but they're a little bit less with things like Facebook and Instagram, because at least they're owned in the US.
If you have somebody, that is opening a business, has never, and now has to do social media, like, I'm kind of leading because you offer such great programs. What are some self-help resources that people can use to do social media themselves and learn the ins and outs of it, just the basics to get them through?
Absolutely. So obviously there's good old Google and YouTube. I think a lot of people kind of get the YouTube degree. They search and they watch all the videos. And the problem with that, even though it's very valuable for learning, is that you can get conflicting information from people who have grown their businesses or created their systems in different ways. And it's very tempting to take one tip from this person and one tip from that person and one tip from this other person. And what you end up with is not the same system that any of them have. And you wonder why you're not getting results. So I do recommend that if you do join any program or follow any particular recommendations or system from anyone, that you try to stick to the whole system from that person without mixing in too much from other people that may be conflicting with the way that system works. I have my own Facebook group that you're welcome to join. Right now it's called Profitable Pet Businesses. You can just search it. And if anyone who is a rescue or 501c3 is listening, I actually have a scholarship for my membership program that is basically an all access pass to all of my paid trainings and courses. And any 501c3 that is animal related can get access to that for free. So if they want to just reach out to me, they can definitely get that. There's lots of other really great resources. There are people like, Candace Doniolo with Pet Boss Nation has a wonderful program. It's not specifically marketing focused. It's all around leadership and business growth with a few marketing courses inside of it. But I would just encourage you to start by finding the people who are in the pet industry. Go to petindustry.network.com, look for the network that you want to build around yourself. And then those are also the people that you can learn from, whether they have a course or you hire them for consulting. The best thing to do is to look for the person that's going to align with you, with your values, and understand the pet industry. That's what's very important.
Yeah, completely right. Thank you so much, Skarlet. And it's amazing that you're offering a free scholarship for rescues. That's really nice to hear.
That's amazing. We have rescuers listening, so I'm sure some of them should and will want to take advantage of it. So this is a PR podcast. Can you talk a little bit about how do you think PR intersects with social media?
So PR is like, in my opinion, social media before social media existed. It is the organic way to get your message in front of as many people as possible to get them talking about it. And the difference between PR and social media is that you're trying to get yourself on other people's channels, whereas with social media, you're trying to build your own channel. And kind of the mix between the two, I feel like the little hybrid is influencer marketing, which is, getting yourself on someone else's channel that they have built as a social media influencer or content creator rather than a news organization or magazine or something like that. But the end goal of all of it is to get yourself in front of as many of your ideal clients as possible.
How do you find your target audience on social media?
A lot of it starts with understanding who that target audience actually is. I think that's something that a lot of people don't quite dig deep enough on. They say, oh, well, anyone with a dog can use my product. But in reality, your product is really built for the single dog mom in the city who needs XYZ solution. And, it's not really the same attraction as someone who is out in the country and maybe doesn't have the same problems or doesn't care about the same things. Not every pet owner is a pet parent, and therefore not every problem we can solve is one that every pet owner wants to solve or understands that they need to solve. So the first thing is dialing down into who your ideal client is and who is it that's going to understand that they need and want your product or your service. So that's a big step to it. Then, does it matter where they live? Are you a local business? If you ship anywhere in the US, then you're less limited in terms of finding your audience versus if you're a pet sitter and you only work in a 30-mile radius of where you live. So that's another step to identify. And then I just go on to hashtags that are being used by people who are in that niche, specifically on Instagram. I also look up, other businesses who are having success in those niche, who have the audience we want to have. Even things that are not a direct business, especially if you're local. Like if I'm a pet sitter, I might go look at pet stores and veterinarians in my area and see what their audience looks like, what kind of things their audience are posting, what hashtags they're using. That sort of research is very helpful to find out where your target audience is hanging out. Outside of Instagram, you can do the same thing with Facebook groups. Do you have a local, pet owner group that's specific to your city that you can join? Or if you're not someone who is limited by the local area, very specific to the types of problems you solve. Like there are lots of find a dog trainer or dog behavioral support groups if you're a trainer that you can join, and that is your audience. They're right there. All you have to do is build a relationship with them.
Thank you so much, Skarlet. Those are really great tips. Thank you so much for this. We have to take another break, but we'll be right back.
Molly, here's your dinner. Zeus, that's not your food. Don't let that happen to your precious cat. Elevate your cat's eating experience with the Cat Tree Tray. The Cat Tree Tray keeps your cat's food off the floor and conveniently located on the cat tree. It's the perfect way to eat. It's a beautiful wrought iron tray that easily attaches to your cat tree and keeps dogs and other critters out of your cat's dish. A must for multi-pet households. There's a 6-inch tray for large bowls and a 4-inch tray for smaller bowls. Purchase your Cat Tree Tray today. Go right now to cattreetray.com. That's cattreetray.com. CATTREETRAY.com.
Let's talk pets
Let's talk pets
on Pet Life Radio.
Pet Life Radio.
PetLifeRadio.com.
And we're back with Skarlet and all of her tips on social media. Skarlet, question: is there a general rule for social media? So I've heard, you should post 3 times a week or like 2 times a week, but you can't also post every day because then you're overwhelming your audience. So is there a general rule, and how important is like the amount of time you're posting compared to the engagement?
So the most important thing in that front is consistency. You want to pick a time that you yourself are going to be able to keep up with. So if you choose to post 10 times a day on all the platforms, it sounds outrageous, but there are people who do it. You're probably, as a small business, going to burn out and not be able to keep up and feel, like you're just going to give up on social media. I've had so many people say that to me. I can't keep up, and I just decided not to bother. I recommend picking something that you can sustainably keep up with, whether that's once a week, 3 times a week, once a day. The best results I find are usually when you're doing about once a day. But you can even go 2, 3, 4, 5 times a day. There's not really such a thing as too much because no one in your audience sees every piece of content that you put out. And that's a lot of things people are worried about as well. As I don't want to spam people. I don't want people to see the same thing over and over. But the algorithms decide what people see. So what matters more is finding the content, those golden nuggets that your audience is really going to love, that are going to take off and become what I call viral for you, which is, it doesn't have to get 1 million views. But if you normally get 100 views and it gets 2,000 views, that post is viral for you, which means that post performed better. And it is now kind of put it in your little vault as a example of what performs well with your audience. The more content you put out, the quicker you can find those golden nuggets. And then the more you can refine your content to be better and closer to what your audience wants. So more is going to get you where you need to go faster. It's going to get you in front of more people. But you also want to focus on your own well-being and not getting burned out. Because if you're going to put out a post every day for a month, but then run out of steam and not do it for 6 months, that's not going to be as helpful to you as if you focus on 2 or 3 posts a week and you do that consistently over time.
Wow. I have a question. What about the use of video?
Video is almost non-negotiable at this point. With the invention of TikTok, people's brains just decided that short form video is exactly what they resonate with. And the algorithms and the companies that control social media have listened to that. And they've built everything around short form content quite a lot, to where now there's not really even a big platform that most people use in the pet industry that hasn't copied TikTok. Instagram has Reels, so does Facebook. YouTube has Shorts. Even Pinterest now has, video pins. So it's definitely something that's taking over, and you are definitely holding yourself back if you're shying away from video. Video is very important. It's not to say that if you don't want to do video or don't have the capacity to do video right now that you shouldn't bother. You should still be out there, do what you can do. Something is always better than nothing. But I have found that the exact same post with the same caption, same message, even the same text overlay, if I put it out as a video versus an image post, almost every time it's going to reach more people.
Yeah, and now, like, if you go on Instagram, I've seen that in the last couple of weeks. If you go on somebody's profile, you don't even see their picture anymore because you're already on the reel feed on their profile. So you have to like change the tab to actually see their pictures. But if it's just picture, you don't actually even see them anymore.
Yeah, it depends a lot on how you got to their profile. For example, I end up on people's profile a lot because I find a post and then I click into their profile from that post. If you are on an image post and you click into the profile, it will take you to the normal feed. If you are on a reel and you click into the profile, it will take you directly to the reels feed.
I didn't know that. That's so interesting. Wow. They really know how to work their magic.
They do. I have a question about Pinterest. Like, should businesses in animal welfare use Pinterest? I associate it with recipes and, interior design.
Well, I think that's actually a perfect example of why you should. You associate it with where you go when you want to learn something. So if you are a pet business, especially if you have a blog, if you have a podcast, if you have anything where you want them to leave the social media account and go to your website to consume something, Pinterest is the best place to be. It is not quite the same for community building. So I almost don't even consider Pinterest a social media network so much as it is a search engine. They're the only network that has designed themselves to where they want people to click away and leave their platform. Everyone else has designed themselves to keep people on the platform as long as possible. But Pinterest wants people to leave. They want them to go read your recipe, read your blog, go look at your interior design photos. So they are a great place to share if you have a link that you want people to follow. I don't typically post to Pinterest if I don't have somewhere to send them, because that's really like if you're on Pinterest and you're looking for recipes and there's nothing to click to go read the recipe, that's probably pretty annoying.
Yeah.
Whereas if you have a blog, if you have a news channel where you released something, if you have PR that you want to put out into your audience, anything that you have a link to send somebody to go look at something, you should put it on Pinterest.
Oh, interesting. And do you know what the target audience is on Pinterest? Is it more like millennials, Gen Z, Gen X?
I think it depends a lot. It's definitely at least, millennials. I think some Gen Z use it. I think Gen X and millennials definitely use it almost more than others because it is more of a search platform. When we go to look at, design ideas for our weddings, we go to Pinterest.
Yeah.
I think a lot of Gen Z is now going to Instagram and TikTok for that sort of thing.
Yeah, that's true.
I have another question about TikTok. And, politically, there's all this talk and everything of, not allowing U.S. users to use it anymore. What do you think about that? And what should people do? I mean, should they still be on TikTok? Should they be careful about what they put on?
So I will start by leaving it and sufficing it to say that I do not have TikTok on my phone. So you'll know where I land in that camp. My husband is a cybersecurity engineer, so that says enough about that. But I have, my networks and my third-party posting platforms connected to TikTok. If I have a client who wants to be on TikTok, I use those to post and to interact with comments. Personally, I think that TikTok, the reason it became so popular, partially is because it invented this mega short-form video platform that we now see. I mean, invented is a strong word. Vine existed long before, but they're the ones who really popularized it. And they're also the place where people feel like they can get the most views and grow the fastest. The reason for that, though, is because they design their algorithm to just show everything to everybody all the time. Now, the more you interact with, it will pare your feed down to where you're seeing more things you're more likely to be interested in. But they basically don't restrict their feed as much in terms of, wanting to show you content that they believe is quality and that other people have engaged with and that they think you're going to be interested in. They just show your content to more people, so more people like it, watch it, and follow you. But those followers, I have found, are not as valuable as the ones that you get on Instagram or in a Facebook group in terms of how many, followers you have versus how many dollars you can make off of them. Now, this is different equation if you're a pet influencer, by all means. That's not what I'm talking about here. But in terms of the likelihood that your follower is targeted, is interested in what you actually offer, and is likely to buy something from you is not as high on TikTok. Now, there's a lot of places where people have made thousands and millions of dollars a month because they're on TikTok getting millions of views. It is possible. But I personally feel like 1,000 views on Instagram is going to bring more money into your pocket than 1,000 views on TikTok. And the reality is, it's a lot of work to build a platform. This is a platform where, especially if you're in America, it could get ripped out from under you any second. So it's a lot of effort that you may end up. We always say social media is a platform that you borrow, and you want to move people to something like an email list, which is a platform that you own. TikTok is the most borrowed platform, in my opinion. So even though all of them are somewhat volatile, it's kind of the one that has the shakiest foundation in terms of it could be gone tomorrow.
That's amazing. And, Whisker Media has some Chinese clients, and what they see on TikTok in China is vastly different than what is seen here in the US. And so this might be more conspiracy, but do you think that the Chinese government is flooding, misinformation on TikTok?
I wouldn't at all be surprised, because the American government is flooding misinformation on our social media. I mean, that's just something we have to be aware of as informed adults. And outside of the government, the human beings and users who are completely outside the platform control are also flooding misinformation, because everyone believes different things and some of us don't do our research very well. So always be aware that that's something that, you could be dealing with. Always do your research for something that's important, something that, you're actually making life decisions about. Don't just watch a TikTok or an Instagram reel and make a decision. Always, dig a little deeper. But I would be very surprised if there wasn't, involvement with the Chinese government and what kind of content is being put out. We do know that they're heavily restricting the types of content based on the location. And we know that people have literally gone to jail because of what they posted on TikTok. So if they're restricting that much, I'm not at all surprised if they're also controlling and putting some stuff out there as well.
So be careful when it comes to TikTok, everyone.
Be careful everywhere, because you never know. Even Mark Zuckerberg just recently came out and apologized for letting himself be threatened into influencing politics and hiding certain posts and letting more people see certain posts based on political leanings. So just always, be mindful of that when you're on social media and when you're watching the news and when you're really consuming anything.
I have a quick question. What are those social media programs that help you, post multiple, helped you repurpose your content? Any suggestions which ones you like? I know there's like some of these are really expensive, but like Sprout Social, we use
Sketch Social.
Yeah. Which ones do you like? And, what would be worth somebody's time and resources to put into to do social media quickly?
I'm a really big fan of one specific platform, which is what I now use after trying a dozen, and this one really hit all the things I needed. It's called Metricool. And for most people who only have one brand to promote, you can get everything you need on the free version.
Oh.
If you need to upgrade, then, I think the next level up is only like $18 a month. It's really affordable compared to other platforms. And it also does a lot more, so you can minimize. Like, there's some people who pay for a scheduling platform and they pay a separate analytical platform to look at their stats and compile reports. And they pay a separate platform to have their multi-link tool that, gives them that button on Instagram where you have the list of all the buttons. And everything is kind of a different platform for everything. So it really adds up. Metricool, especially, I know I am on a paid level because I have like 10 or 12 brands that I manage on there, but it has all of that in it. So I pay less for Metricool now than I paid 7 or 8 years ago just for my analytical and reporting software. So it's definitely a very, very useful tool. Like I said, a lot of businesses can use the free version and get everything that they need. And the other reason I switched to it is it's got really good analytics and it will connect to basically every platform. So I don't need Meta Business Suite for Facebook and Instagram and Hootsuite for LinkedIn and, other platforms that connect to other things. Metricool will connect to basically everything you need it to. And then you can just put up a post. I can put up let's say, a reel post on someone's Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube Shorts all at the same time. And I can also edit the captions to be different for each one so that I can remove the Instagram hashtags from the Facebook posts and put the link in the ones that allow links and take it off of Instagram so that you're still posting in what I call native language for the platform. So you can edit the post to where they all fit the platform they're going to, but then put them all in there at once. Just upload the video one time. And then if you want to move them all around to where they don't necessarily go out at the same time.
That's awesome. Hey, we should bring Mark in here. Mark, you're a huge fan of social media.
I'm a huge fan of it. It's just that our social media is pitiful. I mean, we're a worldwide, media company, and our social media is terrible because we don't really have a lot of time to do this. But now that I just saw this, Metrocool, this really is useful.
It's very helpful as a scheduler, yeah.
Now that I know to do reels more than just photos, I think that that'll be helpful too. So I'm learning a lot here.
And Mark, you can promote your own music when you do your reels.
I could.
Yeah, you could put it in the background and then that can become like a sound.
The only problem is every time I do that, they take it down because they say it's copyrighted. Of course, it's copyrighted by me and the companies that distribute it, but they don't distinguish that it's mine, and they just take it down.
Oh, that's a bummer.
Yeah.
You do have the opportunity, I think, to appeal those and basically say, yes, it's copyrighted. I own the copyright. It's mine.
I do that, but it's a pain to do that every single time.
It is a lot, yeah. That's one of the things that is a challenge. I see a lot of, especially bigger content creators, deal with that. They'll even pick music that's in the Instagram or Facebook music library and then later get their reel taken down or demonetized because of copyright. So it's a little bit of a mess there. They're trying to be very cautious and not get themselves sued. And that unfortunately makes it kind of hard on the creators.
It's just social media is just constantly evolving. I can tell you, I can't keep up. I mean, Alex does most of ours, and you'll know this, Skarlet. You'll tag me, and I'll find out that you tagged me 3 weeks later. I apologize to everybody in our network. And so it's just hard to keep up, and your wisdom is just amazing. And I did want to ask one quick question about today. I got an email and it said your Instagram could have more followers. And, they were basically soliciting me to buy followers. Can you talk about that really quick? You shouldn't do that, correct?
Yeah, I was about to say the quickest I can say that is don't. The thing about any cold email that you get is almost always going to be someone who wants you to buy followers. Sometimes it will be someone who's offering a service to help you grow followers, which looks a little bit more up and up. But the problem is that type of service, I offer it myself, is very ambiguous and very easy for people to tell you they're doing something different than what they are. So they could be buying followers. They could be using bots to follow your account. They could be even doing the work that is the same thing I might do, but they're not targeting people correctly. So they're just getting anybody and everybody to interact with your content. But I have found, because I do some behind the scenes testing for all that kind of stuff, I sometimes respond to those emails and say, okay, tell me what you would do with the account. And a lot of them, what they'll do is they will send you, hundreds, if not thousands of new followers a month. But if you go and look at who those followers are, they are a face that doesn't match a name, that has 2 posts and 50 followers, and it might have been created yesterday or a year ago, but it's not a real person.
Mm-hmm.
These companies, they make these accounts just to use them to then sell you accounts. So you're not actually going to make any money off of them because they're not real people, much less real people who are actually your ideal clients. So it can be very difficult. And I personally, the best way to grow your account using the same type of methods that these people are trying to tell you to use, not buying followers, but actually growth methods, is what I call outbound engagement. There are a few different methods for this. One of them is called $80. You can just Google that and it'll probably be the first result there with an article on all the information on how to do it. Another one I call the notification bomb, which you basically just go to a page, maybe comment on a post, like 9 or 10 photos, follow them. When they get on their phone and look at their notifications, they're going to see your name takes up their whole notification page. And they're most likely at least going to go look at your profile and see why and see what you're all about. And that increases the likelihood they're going to follow you and engage with your content. The $1.80 method is one that is what I use for the service that I offer. And what we do is we reach out to people who are using the hashtags that identify them as your ideal clients. We comment on the post, we like it, we follow them. We build a connection, and ideally we want to start a conversation and build a relationship, because that's really what social media is all about. It's about feeling like you can get to know a person, and the most successful you're going to be on social media is if you look like it, like a networking event or a party. Even if you've got great content, that's like going to a party and standing in the corner and waiting for someone to come talk to you. And how successful is that going to be? Or a networking event, how many people are you going to meet if you do that, versus if you go and you talk to people and you approach people and you introduce yourself and you join whatever conversation it is, not necessarily about your business. It could be about how cute their dog is in that outfit that day. The more you do that, that's where you're going to start seeing results from your social media. You're going to see more engagement. You're going to see more followers. And more importantly, every single one of those followers is going to be a closer connection. And that pulls them one step closer through your customer journey to actually buying from you. I find accounts that have 100 followers that do this and get, don't go a single day without making a sale, versus accounts with 10,000, 20,000 followers that are dead and don't actually make any money because they're not building connections.
Wow. Well, this has been really helpful. Can you tell us how people can get a hold of you, and tell us about your podcast and, how they can connect with you, basically?
Yeah, absolutely. So my name is Skarlet Rockwood with a K, so Skarlet. SkarletRockwood.com is my website, and Skarlet Rockwood is my username on basically every platform I'm on. You can also join my Facebook group, Profitable Pet Businesses. That should be pretty easy to find, and there's a picture of me with my bright red hair, so it should be hard to miss. And the podcast is the Pet Marketing Podcast. So if you just search Pet Marketing Podcast, that should pop up for you as well. And again, the bright red everything shouldn't be hard to find.
That is so awesome. Thank you so much, Skarlet, for joining us. You have been just a wealth of information. And Mark's going to go check out Metricool as soon as he's done with the show.
I'm going to check out a whole bunch of this stuff. This is really helpful. Yes.
Yeah, well, that's a wrap for this show for this week. We are so excited to be doing this for all of you out there who are making life better for animals. So, do you got a question you want us to answer? Reach out to us on Instagram or Facebook under the Whisker Report, and we'll try to answer it in a future podcast episode. And as we always say,
Bark loud and purr smart.
See you later, everybody.
Let's Talk Pets, every week on demand, only on PetLifeRadio.com.